Can you imagine spending a year on a sailboat with your 3 siblings and your parents? Can you imagine this scenario as a non-sailor? No need to imagine. Listen to Colleen Forestier recount her experience on this NSP short.
The sailboat. Yes, especially being from the prairies with no sailing experience. So when I was in grade 10, I'm kind of trying to grade 11. So around the age of 16, my father had been a surgeon for a number of years, and he was looking to do something a little bit different. It was a period of time where he was looking for change, and the kids were all growing up. We were all in our teen years, and he and my mom decided that it was a good time to sell the house and buy a sailboat, a 42-foot sailboat for 6 of us, and learn to sail. And it sounds a little bit over the top. My parents had a little bit of experience with sailing. My father more than my mom. My mom gets horribly seasick. I don't know how she agreed to this, but we went from Edmonton and sold the house. We kept a cottage up north in northern Alberta, and cross-countryed in our truck to Toronto to find our sailboat, which had been purchased at a distance, and moved on to this thing. And for the next year, that was home. So we learned very quickly how to sail, and we took it from Toronto down the intercoastal waterways down to the Bahamas and back. So for a year, it was all family all the time.
Now, I know nothing about sailing. What does life on a 42-foot sailboat look like? There's 6 of you.
Yes. It's a really small one. There's 6 of you. So if you calculate that out, that's like 7 feet per person. Sailboats and the way these are constructed are pretty phenomenal. It's like a tiny home is the best way to express it. And you have, the outer or the deck and the cockpit, which almost makes a different living space. But underneath, you've got a tiny little area to cook. The kitchen table also turns into a bed. The front berth is where the anchor goes, but also there's a couple of beds up there. You have a small washroom, and then the back berth was where my parents were. So it was tight quarters, especially for 6 of us. It sounds like a lot of room, but it's not really.
No, it doesn't sound like a lot of room.
It was really not a lot of room. But you got to know each other really, really, really well. It was a very much we've talked about this before, very much a TSN turning point for us as a family, but also me as an individual, in turn, what that experience meant to us as a family and what that experience meant to me as an individual after that year was done.
How did you deal with conflict or privacy, or did you just sort of say, well, nobody gets privacy, but conflict is another thing altogether? It's not like you just sort of, well, I'm going to storm out of the house and go to my friend's place.
No, you can't do that. Although you can sometimes storm off on the dinghy and go to the beach. So I think you have to find solutions. You have to find ways to make it work. There were days where it wasn't easy for any of us. And yet, you find ways to find your space, to have the quiet time, to, I must say, kiss and make up. Your family, this is your space, and you have to find a way to make it work. And that was a really important lesson, I think, for us as family.
Did it instill in you a sense of adventure? I mean, you're grade 11, you're on a sailboat for a year.
It does a lot of things at that age. I mean, 16, even our mid-teens are formative years, I think, for anyone can attest to that. For all of us, that meant we had to uproot our school, our family, our activities, not our family, but our activities and our life as we knew it. And yet you come back to that space where you have changed. Like we came back to Edmonton after we're done. You come back, same school, same people, same activities, but you have fundamentally changed. You've had an experience that changes how you see the world, how you see your place in the world, and that alters how you look at things. And what I mean by things is belongings. Suddenly, material things. It alters how you look at opportunities or adventures. You do take those on a little bit differently. You understand their value a little differently, for good or for bad. It also makes you recognize that, for me, one of the big life lessons is life continues without you. You choose how you're going to engage with the world, or how you're going to engage and choose your path. The world's not going to wait for you to do it. And it will just continue going forward, and it will continue in whatever direction it's going to continue. But you can control what you choose to do with that. So I think that was one of the big components of what I came back with after that